morning and thanks for joining us on Nationwide on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. The federal government has secured enhanced funding commitment from the African Development Bank to operationalize the second phase of the special agro-industrial processing zones. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the request in New York during a bilateral meeting with AFDB's president on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. State House correspondent Abrahman Jibrila reports.
The Special Agro-Processing Zone Phase 2 expected to scale up climate-resilient infrastructure and inclusive agro-industrial growth across an additional 24 states, expanding from initial 8 states and the FCT, aimed at diversifying Nigeria's mono-product economy to value-added agricultural exports.
The bank's support for innovation-driven enterprises.
Justifying the country's request, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Nigeria is the largest shareholder in Africa Development Bank and its portfolio hovers in the neighborhood of $10 billion.
Our dream is to make tomorrow much better than today for our youth. We have no business being in business. The government has no business being in business. Our duty is to create the enabling environment, the infrastructure. The duty of the private sector is to provide the capital, the innovations, and the market linkages. And our youth, who constitute the bulk of our population. It might interest you, Your Excellency, to know that the average age of the Nigerian nation is 16.9. And by 2050, we'll surpass the United States, will be the third most populous nation on earth. So that goes to show the potentials of the Nigerian nation and the need for us to really act very fast.
We need to work with, I am planning to have a series of consultations with banks and the DFIs and guarantee funds to make sure that we will work as a coherent system of financial institution contributing together to delivering on the mandate of the African Development.
AFDB's president assured that under his leadership, the bank will spare no effort to provide Nigeria with the support it deserves in terms of developing its human capital. Earlier, Vice President Kashim Shettima held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, where they recommitted to strengthening economic and cultural ties.
Going forward, we should have a robust engagement and understanding. We should stand by each other. We should stand for one another. We should stand on each other's interests.
We think that this kind of communication and easy access to both countries can actually help significantly with the movement of people, which we already have, and can help to further trade between the countries.
He further recalled that President Tinubu was in St. Lucia earlier in the year as part of his broader package of reaching out to Caribbean Africans in the diaspora. The Prime Minister decried the low level of trade and contact between Caribbean countries and Africa, expressed the country's readiness to work closely with Nigeria to boost trade on the African continent. From New York, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Now to agriculture. To promote a modern, inclusive and climate-resilient agricultural sector, the federal government of Nigeria and IFED have assisted the Value Chain Development Program to help selected youths on farming equipment fabrication. Mercy Fabi reports that equipment were also distributed to beneficiaries of the program's adaptation for smallholder agriculture program grant.
The training seeks to empower the youths with practical skills and also strengthen the agricultural mechanization ecosystem farmers in the rural areas depend on.
Each one that have problem, we know how to handle it, that we can repair.
The adaptation for smallholder agricultural program grants, ASAP, which focuses on building resilience of farmers to climate shocks, is only implemented in Niger and Kogi states.
We give a lot of equipment, and at the end of the day, for lack of maintenance and spare parts, they abandon those equipment. So in order to tackle that issue, we decided to train some of our youth on equipment fabrications as well as maintenance.
The program has made a significant impact in poverty reduction in those rural areas, which has led to accelerated economic growth and sustainable basis through the provision of vital agricultural infrastructure.
Climax of the event was the presentation of starter packs to the youth fabricators and distribution of equipment. In Mina, Mercy Fabi, NTA News.
Away from agriculture, there's a need for Nigerians to support the leadership of the country. This is said to be a panacea for national development. This was the prompt behind Shuaibu Ishak's 72 hours writing marathon set to be organized in honor of President Bola Tinubu. Oyeyemi Ajayi reports that the book titled The Last Card, Why It Must Be Tinubu Again, is set to be the writer's contribution towards national consciousness to challenge citizens to reflect on their civic duties.
And a personal project. It is a patriotic duty by a common man conceived to honor President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, a leader who, in the face of immense pressure, has chosen the harder but nobler path, the path of reforms, of nation building, of putting Nigeria's tomorrow above political convenience today. Such leadership deserves not only acknowledgement, but documentation for posterity.
Publication will be presented to President Bola Tinubu on Independence Day. This is Nationwide on NTA. Let's head to Jos we'll be joining Jos in the course of the bulletin. Let's move on. Now, the federal government has been applauded for providing an enabling environment towards the provision of qualitative education in the country under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. The Registrar, National Board for Arabic and Islamic Studies, Professor Yahuza Sulaiman Imam, gave the commendation while announcing the 2025 June-July Senior Arabic and Islamic Secondary School Certificate Examination results. Sulaiman Kadogi brings us details.
In the results, the Registrar, Professor Yahuza Sulaiman Imam, said a total number of 40,334 candidates from integrated Arabic and Islamic secondary schools across the country took part in the examination. A breakdown of the result indicates that 24,095 female candidates, representing 59.9% registered, while 16,164 male candidates, representing 40.1%, also registered for the examination. The results revealed that 71% of the candidates scored 5 credits and above in major subjects, which includes English and mathematics. Professor Yahuza Sulaiman Imam appreciates the Federal Ministry of Education and other stakeholders for their support and cooperation towards the success of the exercise.
Thank you very much. Starting from item generation, starting from ending to moderation and question papers to be ready handed to the Department of Examinations.
The Chief Executive Officer thereafter announced the registration for November-December 2025 external examinations that commenced on the 22nd of September 2025. Suleiman Kudogi, NTA News.
And for more reports, let's head to Jos, where Mary is standing by.
Welcome to Jos. Interdenominational church service to mark Nigeria's 65th independence celebration held in Jos with a call on Nigerians to remain patriotic and work collectively to move the country forward. Governor Caleb Mutfwang made the plea in a message to the service at EYN Church LCC Jos. Ijoma Ozemena reports.
The interdenominational service was attended by church leaders across various denominations within the state alongside top government officials, traditional rulers, and security personnel. The program reminded Nigerians of the relentless efforts of past leaders who laid the foundation for a united Nigeria.
Their courage and foresight inspire us to continue the work of building a nation where peace, unity, and prosperity reign. As a government, we are ever committed to making Plateau State to succeed. We have put machineries in place and initiated policies aimed at placing the state on the path of steady growth and development.
Taking his reading from the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 12, the preacher, Reverend Gideon Paramalam, urged people of faith to be peace builders for the progress of the society.
We've got to be intentional about pushing for peace, about pursuing peace, just as those who want to stabilize this state, this nation are intentional and they are committed, working day and night. May we not be caught asleep. Let us work for peace.
The church expressed gratitude to God for the prevailing peace, urging all to be patriotic and work collectively towards a united and prosperous country. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
In line with federal government's directive, Plateau State government has procured history textbooks and distributed to schools across the state. The State Commissioner of Education, Dr. Kachalom Gang, while distributing the books in Jos, charged benefiting schools to ensure their judicious utilization. Bilkis Nuhu has details.
It will be recalled that some years ago, history as a subject in secondary schools was removed from the curriculum. However, it has been reintroduced by the federal government. In line with this development, the Plateau State government, through the Ministry of Education, procured history textbooks and distributed them to zonal and area directors for onward distribution to schools in the state. Commissioner for Education, Dr. Kachalom Gang, urged students and schools to take proper care of the books in the interest of beneficiaries.
As the Commissioner for Education, I'm honored to oversee this initiative by His Excellency in purchasing the books for our schools in Plateau State. These history books are aimed to provide our students with the history of Nigeria, and we have a chapter on the history of Plateau State.
Chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Subeb Sunday Amuna, and the State Secretary of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools Owners, thanked Governor Caleb Mutfwang and the Ministry of Education for the gesture.
I want to pledge on behalf of Subeb our total support for this work and to receive these materials, these instructional materials, with heart of gratitude.
The highlights of the event was the symbolic presentation of textbooks to beneficiaries. In Jos, Bilkis Nuhu, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Elizabeth is still standing by in our Abuja studio for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Mary. Today is World News Day, set aside to highlight the importance of fact-based journalism and promotes the value of credible news reporting. This global awareness campaign aims to amplify the value of journalism, thereby highlighting the crucial role journalists play in providing trustworthy information that serves citizens and democracy. The day also promotes media literacy, defend press freedom through advocacy for the rights of journalists to report freely and safely, particularly in times of crisis. The day also emphasizes the global commitment to open and reliable communication. He is one of NTA's finest here on Good Morning Nigeria. Chukwudi Okoli Udwaga, a public affairs analyst for the World Press News Day. Mr. Chukwudi, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure.
Much. All right, tell us, why is this day so important to every journalist out there? Locally, internationally?
Well, you would say, why is it important for every journalist out there. But the truth is that the journalist is a conduit. The people who benefit from journalism are the people themselves. And so I would even want to argue, why is the day important to the people? It was Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the French philosopher, who said, man is born free, yes, but wherever you find him, he's in chains. So there is the need for members of the 40 states of the realm to try to do the much they can to safeguard freedom of speech above everything else. Closely following that is to guard against rights violation. These days, when you have what has become a deluge of misinformation posing as alternative facts, okay, the job of the journalist actually becomes more and more relevant to society. It's just like one person said the other time, if there weren't God, it would be necessary to invent him for the good of mankind. So if there weren't journalists, it would be necessary to invent them to safeguard society from the ills I mentioned earlier.
Okay, now let's talk about the theme of this year's celebration, truth and facts. Let's dwell on this.
Yes, truth and facts. I mentioned something close to that already. You can see what is happening today in the United States of America. It is a strange happening to those of us who are old school journalists. You now get to hear about alternative facts. I grew up to know facts as facts, but facts are now becoming subject to the reading or interpretation of the group or association, individuals pushing that particular fact. It's not supposed to be called a fact, pushing that particular idea. You find out that truth has become an endangered species in the world we live in at the moment. You can never confuse social media work with journalism work.
At all.
A social media person will just bring his camera to the scene of an accident, video prostrate bodies on the ground there, and tell you that 5 people died in an accident today. He doesn't know that 4 of them are still breathing. It is when you impose factuality, fairness, accuracy, objectivity, and balance, the parameters for the job we do as journalists, that you get to know the truth about the situation. So you can never play down the job of the journalist. If we were not important before now, from the 20th century, it has become very important that journalists are allowed to do their work for the good of society.
Okay, now, in doing their work, let me comment there.
The devil is contending with God these days.
Okay, now, in talking about our roles as journalists, our job as journalists, our responsibilities, now, at what point do we draw the line between journalism practice and public service?
That's a rather tricky one. Public service will be handled by public servants. Journalism will be handled by journalists. Let me make one point clear. If you have an old journalist, you knew so much to really be married to the tenets of journalism, and suddenly he becomes an aide to a principal in government, that person is no longer doing the job of journalists. They are protecting the interest of their principal. That would be public service to a public servant. But a journalist would forever be married to factuality, fairness, accuracy, objectivity, and balance. Those are the parameters that drive his work. We should never, ever confuse journalism with public service. But then, I quickly need to say that you are a journalist does not mean that you should no longer pay heed to what we call national interest. Somebody asked somebody the other time, so you pursue facts, you want to expose them the way they are. What if you go to cover violence somewhere, and when you return to the newsroom, the news you put out leads to violence times 3? Would you have done a good job of journalism? So there is the need for you to also balance the interests of society when you do your work. That I will call public service. That I will call being responsible in spite of what the tenets of your profession ask you to do. You must bring in discretion into how you do your work.
Into how you do your work. Now, You know, globally, journalists face so much threats, harassments, they're assaulted. How do we surmount these issues confronting us on a daily basis?
Well, you see, a journalist is a gadfly. A gadfly is a masterless person, a maverick. He is built to be like that. If he doesn't do that, he's going to tell things that favor his friends and promote things that no longer are in the interest of society. So he has a job to do the job the way it should be done, without, fear or favor. Some people will tell you, he was my classmate when we were in school. But the truth is that the minute he begins to think factuality, fairness, accuracy, objectivity, and balance, he's no longer talking as your classmate. He now owes more allegiance to the larger society than you, who thinks that because I knew him or I know him, he's going to pander to my whims and caprices. That is the dilemma a journalist has to face when they do their work. But as I said earlier, whatever you do, the good of society must be at the back of your mind.
Of course.
Because you cannot, in the process of enlightening, informing, educating, and entertaining, endanger the fabric of the society you think you're working in favor of. Because you're in the job of holding accountable people who should be accountable to the people.
Mr.
You have a
Chukwudi,
job to also make sure that you stay within the limits of not impinging on the freedom of the people you even report on.
Yes.
Very important. It's a job for responsible
Chukwudi,
people.
I actually
People of
wish
integrity.
I had much time to talk to you. It's been very interesting talking to you this evening. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for enlightening us, and thank you for being the journalist you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's a big privilege you extended to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, in a pivotal moment for African media diplomacy, stakeholders are being urged to adopt a more intentional and strategic approach in amplifying the continent's voice on the global stage. This call resonated at a meeting between the management of the Voice of Nigeria, VON, and the Ethiopian ambassador to Nigeria in Abuja. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports.
The engagement, Jibril Babandache said, is in furtherance of Voice of Nigeria's renewed drive at galvanizing African nations toward a collective partnership that will strengthen African unity, as well as counter misinformation and disinformation about the continent and its people.
We believe that no matter what we do as nations, if we don't collectively work together and being deliberate about how our stories are told, nobody will know about those positive stories. We remain committed, we remain consistent, and we're available as a platform to work with you.
Unless the African media shape the opinions of the African countries, no country will come in and promote the interest of the African continent as a continent. So we have shared values that we need to closely work together.
The ambassador also pledged to facilitate a meeting between Voice of Nigeria and the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation to formalize a joint partnership in content creation, capacity building, as well as exchange programs. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
Time to take a break. The news continues shortly. This is Nationwide on NTA, and it's time to head to Enugu, where Chika is standing by with some reports. Nice to see you, Chika.
Elizabeth, welcome to Enugu Network Center. As part of continued efforts to build a structure, especially at the grassroots, the African Democratic Congress, ADC in Enugu State, has held an enlarged meeting with coalition groups and partners. Grace Wilson Elsa reports that ADC Enugu State committee members were inaugurated at the meeting,
which had ADC party chieftains and support groups in attendance, was aimed at promoting democratic principles and good governance through effective collaboration by like-minded politicians, youth groups, and stakeholders all geared towards fostering national unity and development.
That's why we're here, to come together and collect the power through democratic means and change the things that are wrong. Please persevere, assist the party to make it grow and send the messages of the ADC to people.
ADC State Leader Rescue Nigerian Coalition Support Group, in his address, emphasized the need for electoral reform in the country so as to regain the confidence of the electorate in the electoral system as well as guarantee good governance.
Many Nigerians are willing to make the necessary sacrifices required to establish good governance. The responsibility therefore falls on all Nigerians to unite in our efforts to elect leaders, irrespective of tribe, religion, zone, or social class.
This is a good news. And we're going to take this good news to the grassroots. And we're going to make sure that Enugu State is going to be an ADC state.
The newly inaugurated committee members pledged their support to playing crucial roles in ensuring the success of various initiatives of the party. In Enugu, Grace Wilson Eze, NTA News.
The Minister of Works, Senator David Nweze Umahi, has called on the Southeast to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in order to attract more developmental projects to the zone. The minister made a call during a courtesy visit by the Southeast Zonal leadership of NTA, who were in the state for their quarterly meeting. Emmanuel Nweze is our guide.
Chief David Umahi, who took time to comment on the state of the nation, said only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has had the required courage to initiate and fund numerous federal government projects in the Southeast, reciprocated by the citizens through massive support. While encouraging the youth to imbibe the spirit of hard work and leverage on the opportunity provided by the federal government, the minister acknowledged NTA's stance in developmental journalism, which has been the cord binding the unity and aiding the growth of the nation.
I do everything possible with the grace of God to support Mr. President. And I want the people of Southeast to support President Bola. The truth is that there is nothing that is offering to other regions that is not offering it to the people of Southeast. So for me, he has fully integrated us.
Projecting the true Nigerian perspective is a goal the Nigerian Television Authority NTA holds there. Hence, the collaboration has to be more positioned to serve the nation in this regard.
And I would say your simplicity, it's a rare combination for somebody to be a man of taste and class, and at the same time, simple.
As when I received the usual handover note from my predecessor on my arrival, and saw your name, Your Excellency, dotted the lines and pages of the document, emanating from the exceptional love and care.
The courtesy visit preceded the quarterly review meeting of the NTA Enugu Zonal Network Center, which provides a common ground for zonal heads to brainstorm for more efficient service delivery to the populace. In Abakaliki, Emmanuel Nweze, NTA News.
And that's it from the Southeast. Now, Elizabeth in Abuja studio. Over to you.
28th September every year has been celebrated as World Rabies Day to raise awareness about rabies prevention and control. The theme for this year's celebration is Act Now, You, Me, Community, emphasizes the importance of collective action in eliminating this deadly disease. Rabies is a deadly disease that claims thousands of lives worldwide each year, with most cases occurring in Africa. And this is why the Nigerian government, through the Ministry of Livestock Development, has declared an all-out war on rabies and pledged to eliminate the disease by 2030.
The time to act is now. Delaying means more lives lost. Lives of our children, farmers, friends, colleagues, and loved ones. The theme, act now. The theme urges us, act now. Let us commit to vaccinating every dog, educating every household member, and supporting every victim. Government alone cannot win this battle. It requires you, and you.
Day is encouraging pets owners to ensure their dogs and cats are up to date on their rabies vaccinations, participate in local rabies awareness campaigns and education initiatives, while also encouraging policymakers to implement pet licensing and data collection systems to aid disease control. And joining me in the studio to speak more on this year's theme is the chairperson, Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, Dr. Joe Irobo Christine China Emeka FCT chapter. Dr. Joe, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
It's a pleasure having me here with you at this hour.
Thank you so much. Now, let's begin on a softer note. At what point should I see a cat or a dog and I take off?
Okay, first of all, let me talk about the theme for this year. It gladdens my heart because it calls for collaboration.
Okay.
And taking it from One Health approach, you see the three ministries that are concerned: the Ministry of Livestock Development, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Environment. Now you ask the question, at what point will you see a cat and you take up? You see rabies, when you have a dog that is friendly, docile, always coming to you to play with you, if you sense that dog change in behavior, a dog that used to be friendly is all of a sudden becoming aggressive, biting at the air, biting things, iron, everything, please, it calls for concern.
Okay.
Rabies is one deadly disease that, if not checked, is going to cause more havoc. And it's disheartening to hear and learn that people still die of rabies when it is something that is 100% preventable. So that is the reason this year's World Rabies Day, we are marking it, not just marking it. We want to shout to the whole world to be sure and know that rabies is real.
Okay, all right. Aside vaccination, now we know it's dangerous and it's deadly. Aside vaccination, are there other areas we should be concerned about if you own, or I own, or someone else own a pet?
The hallmark of preventing rabies is vaccination. Like I said, it's 100% preventable disease. If you keep your pets in good shape, make sure they take their vaccination. And funny enough, this is something you take once a year. It covers the dog, it covers the cat. And honestly speaking, if you put them in check, you as a pet owner, your family, and myself as a veterinarian and Nigerian will all be happy because we have a safe world to live in.
We have a safe world to live in. All right, for anyone with a dog or the dog lovers, the cat lovers out there, what would be your words for them in terms of control and care?
Like we said, the three ministries now had to come in. If you walk out to the street now, you see so many stray dogs. If the Ministry of Environment would take care and act accordingly, the Ministry of Health, why am I involving the Ministry of Health? If eventually a person is bitten by a dog, yes, the veterinarians will act their own. And the Ministry of Health, there's something we call pre-exposure vaccine, post-exposure vaccine for humans. You understand? Like us now in the field, and even pet owners should be able to have pre-exposure because you can't tell. Your friendly dog can give you rabies. Let me tell you, I have classical examples of a pet owner, a woman that owns a cat. All of a sudden, the cat behavior changed, but because she didn't understand. This is why we call for awareness campaign. If that woman had known that this change in behavior is danger to her life, I'm sure she would have taken precaution.
Okay.
But unfortunately, that woman died of rabies because she was not informed, and the control measures, she was not informed.
No, that's good to know. All right, finally from you, now that we are raising this awareness, we're intensifying the advocacy, for anyone out there, shouldn't there be licensing? Shouldn't anyone be licensed to have a pet? I don't think we do.
It's not really that you should be licensed.
Because
like
from licensing, you could control and prevent this disease.
You see, if you have this pet, like if your pet is vaccinated,
yes,
there are cards, there are certificates,
yes,
that shows that your dog has been vaccinated against this disease. You understand?
Okay.
So you as a pet owner, all we need from you is take precautive measures. Do the things that you are supposed to do. See, it's not enough to be a pet owner, but please go that mile to ensure your pets are healthy, because if you don't, it's danger to you and your family.
Dr. Joe, I want to thank you so much, and I hope my colleague with 20 cats, I hope she's listening. Thank you so much for enlightening us. Thank you very much.
Before I leave this studio today,
okay,
I want to announce to everybody living in Abuja, tomorrow, 29th September 2025, the Minister Livestock Development has used his office to procure vaccines for these our dogs and cats.
All right, thank you so much,
So tomorrow
Dr. Joe.
at Old Parade Ground, please make your way to that place for free vaccination against this deadly disease.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. Thank you very much. Let's head to Sokoto for more reports.
Elizabeth, good evening and welcome to Sokoto. In a bid to curb the alarming rate of maternal and child deaths in Sokoto State, the government has unveiled a roadmap for the comprehensive implementation of a maternal and neonatal mortality reduction innovation initiative. The initiative, flagged off recently, is designed to strengthen access to quality maternal health care services, improve skilled birth attendance, and enhance community-level interventions to safeguard the lives of pregnant women and children. Abdullahi Umar Ilelu has more.
Nigeria is said to have the highest maternal and neonatal mortality rate, standing at 28.3%, with the northern part of the country accounting for the largest proportion. The Sokoto State Commissioner of Health, while flagging off the project in Sokoto and unveiling the roadmap for its full implementation, revealed that the Sokoto State government is committed to addressing the challenge of maternal and neonatal mortality in the state.
And the task force will come out with a plan of action so that we'll be able to implement, looking at the roadmap that was developed, and we are going to implement it. And a part of implementing strategy is to ensure our primary health care are functional.
The Minister of Health represented pledge to revitalize the primary healthcare sector to address the problem of maternal and neonatal mortality. Some of the measures being put in place include the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, Basic Emergency Obstetric Care, Comprehensive Emergency Obstetric Care, and the Rural Transport System, among others.
The federal government has been doing a lot and is ready to do a lot to improve maternal and neonatal health. Part of the things that the federal government is doing is revamping the primary healthcare facilities across the country.
The Sultan of Sokoto, represented by the Sarkin Sudan of Wurno Kabiru Chigari, assured that the Sultanate Council is ready to support the giant initiative. The chairman of the Ngeshuni local government, represented by his deputy, commended the foresight of the ministry for flagging of the program, which is expected to improve healthcare for women and children in the state. In Sokoto, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
Stakeholders in Sokoto have described investment in girl-child education as an important step towards addressing challenges against the progress of adolescent girl education in Sokoto State. This came to the fore during flag-off of the Conditional Cash Transfer Program to support 41,825 girls students. Sadia Omerdigi reports.
Thank you so much. Very happy. I'm going to learn.
Over 41,825 adolescent girls in Sokoto State are set to benefit from the Conditional Cash Transfer Program, each receiving 40,000 as cumulative school fees support. Flagging off the program, wife of Sokoto State Governor Fatima Ahmed Aliyu maintains that the initiative is not just financial aid, but a true empowerment, restoring dignity to families and encouraging parents to invest in their daughters' future.
We are not just disbursing funds, we are planting seeds of hope, growth and prosperity.
National and state coordinators of the Agile project commended both federal and state governments for their sustained commitment, noting that the program is also focused on building critical infrastructure in targeted schools.
This project was initiated by the federal government to ensure that the out-of-school children are being reduced on the street, not only the girls, but including the boys.
Because with this motivation, they may start small businesses that will sustain them going to school every day and ensure that they complete and proceed to the next level of their education.
The State Commissioners for Basic and Secondary Education and that for Women and Children Affairs described the intervention as a powerful incentive to keep adolescent girls in classrooms. Beneficiaries of the scheme are adolescent female students enrolled in public schools across Sokoto State. In Sokoto, Sadia Omerdiki, NTA News.
And that is our package. From here, we'll take a short break, and when we return, Nationwide continues in Lagos with Adiola.
For joining us in Lagos. Tourism is a vital component of sustainable development. It fosters harmonious balance for economic progression and environmental stewardship while safeguarding cultural heritage. Its far-reaching impact cuts across communities and ecosystems, underscoring the importance of sustainable practices to effectively leverage its potential. Over now to Adejoke Odeka for more on this.
365 cultural festivities celebrated annually. Nigeria, a land of vibrant cultures, spectacular landscapes, and warm hospitality, remains a cherished destination on the African continent, though many potential visitors harbor concerns about safety and infrastructure.
There needs to be security. I can't tour an area if it's unsafe for me. And even the areas that I'm going to as well also need protection as well, because it's an exchange.
I will start by investing in good roads, airports and public facilities to enhance the comfort of tourists.
I've been to 5 to 6 tourist centers in Nigeria, and to me, I love the places I went to. I had fun in them, but more needs to be provided to bring in the foreigners into our country.
Experts say stakeholders need to put more efforts in developing tourism in Nigeria.
We have our Ogudu Cattle Ranch, we have our Yakari Game Reserve at Bauchi, we have a lot of beautiful places. We also have our Lakwe Resort in Lagos State. As a Nigerian, I noticed that connecting and collaborating with other countries will also help us, our economy.
Any country that want to sustain, that want to promote and make its tourism potential sustainable should go into what we call domestic tourism. Because when you practice and promote domestic tourism, you are giving back tourism to the people at the grassroots.
Experts also believe that tourism, when well managed, enhances livelihoods, promotes cultural understanding, and conserves heritage and ecosystems. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Sniffer dogs have been instrumental to the seizure of more than 17.932 metric tons of various illicit substances since their deployment to support the fight against drug trafficking. Diana Ajale is set to tell us how the newly built Canaan facility donated by the German government to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA in Lagos would increase their impact.
Was the remarkable seizure of 74.119 kg of Captagon in 2021 at the scanning terminal of Apapa Seaport in Lagos.
The inauguration of the newly built dog facility marks another significant milestone in the history of the collaboration between the agency and government of the Federal Republic of Germany.
The provision of this facility will significantly drive our fight against illicit drugs, fulfill our core mandate, and secure the future of our nation.
Speaking on NDLEA's efforts in curbing the activities and menace of illicit drugs in Nigeria, German Consul General noted that the success of the agency is not only helping to keep Nigeria safe, but is of great benefit to Germany.
Congratulations for amazing work, and I would encourage all members of the NDLA to keep up the good spirit. Your agency has been very, very successful and instrumental in fighting crime in Nigeria, and that is of course not only important for Nigeria, but it is important for the region.
Brigadier General Buba Marua, retired, further commended the German government for always fulfilling its commitments to the agency in providing technical, logistics and training, which has translated into excellent performances. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Diola. The federal government has issued a statement strongly condemning and categorically refuting recent allegations by certain international platforms and online influencers, suggesting that terrorists operating in Nigeria are engaged in a systematic genocide against Christians. It stresses that such claims are false and baseless. The federal government remains unwavering in its commitment to degrading terrorist groups and securing the lives and property of all citizens, and this resolve is already yielding results. And that's Nationwide this evening. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.